garden friends, good morning. So today we are going to do my July garden tour. I'm super excited to share this with you guys. We've added a couple of things in, so I think that I have enough to justify another tour. So I hope you guys enjoy, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, so today we're going to start in the Wildflower Garden. So as you can see, it looks a little different than when you last saw it. If you haven't been able to keep up with my past couple of videos, so as you guys can see, it looks just a little bit different than when you last saw it. I ended up chopping down all of the cosmos and the Wildflower Garden mix that I had sowed earlier this spring. It ended up that it had gotten super tall and a little unruly, which I was fine with. But then a big thunderstorm came in and all of the cosmos flopped over. It was crushing all of the perennials that I had just planted here in the front. So I went ahead and decided to go ahead and chop everything down, and it totally worked out because I ended up coming in here and sowing some sunflower seeds, which I actually have a video on. But as you can see, they're starting to sprout up, which is so fun. I'm so excited. These are mammoth sunflowers back here. This is a moonshine sunflower, and then I also have here in this row, which you can't see yet, that's going to come up, a Mrs. Mars sunflower. Actually, there might be one coming up right there, right here. That might be one. So I can see a couple of them coming up. So I am super excited about that. I'm actually doing that specifically because my best friend is getting married in October, and she wanted to have some sunflowers in her bouquet. And so I was like, well, hey, why don't I go ahead and try to grow them? So I'm really excited. I hope that it turns out okay. We'll see how it goes. This is my first time growing sunflowers, but I've heard that they're fairly easy to grow, so I'm pretty excited about that. I also popped in a couple of a couple of Dusty Millers here. So there's a couple there, and there's some over there. So I'm gonna keep these watered really well, and hopefully we can get these to get a little bigger by October so that we can put some of this in her bouquet as well. In here I also have some delphiniums. I think they're blue mirror delphiniums if I'm remembering correctly, and some coneflowers. I have some yellow ones tucked over there, some pink ones. These I just transplanted this year, so they're really small. But I know that they will do well next year because you'll see the coneflowers in our front bed are crazy looking. So I know they're gonna get huge and beautiful. And I think Dusty Miller is just a annual, if I'm remembering correctly. So these will fill in and make a huge, beautiful display here. I also popped in a little dahlia, a little yellow dahlia here, and I actually got on clearance, and I'm not even sure why. I think it was just because there were no blooms on him. So I picked him up, why not? And then I popped him here in the corner. Also in this bed, I have 3 banana cream Shasta daisies, and they haven't put out any new growth. I think, well, they've put out new growth, but they haven't put out any flowers yet. And honestly, I just think that they were under a lot of stress from being really, really heat stressed. And let me know what you guys think. Do your Shasta daisies do okay in full sun in the heat? Because these always wilt in the afternoon, and I'm wondering if maybe they're getting too much sun. I feel like I've been trying to water them twice a day, and they still wilt during the midday. So let me know what you guys think, if maybe they just need a little bit of a break or something like that. But I'm going to leave them here and just see how they do and not like stress them out anymore this year, and then we'll see how next year looks. And then over here I also have some pink Gara, and I can't exactly remember the variety, but I will go ahead and tag it on the screen right now. And then I do have just some regular white coneflower. This one was here, I transplanted him earlier, which is why he's so much bigger, but he's been doing really well. A couple of them are flopping some, but doing pretty well. And then in the front, I just have a little bit of white dianthus, which I cut back pretty hard recently, but as you can see, it's starting to pop out with a little bit more blooms. So hopefully, I know that they bloom through fall, so I'm excited to see a little bit of a white pop of color here since there's not as much in the back. Next, I also have some baskets that I planted up with some yellow zinnias, and I just did this yesterday, and they look a little stressed because I did get these zinnias on clearance, but I'm pretty excited. They're actually already putting out new buds. They're actually putting out new buds right now, which I'm super excited about, and I think that these will go ahead and flush back and turn out really well. and hopefully fill out and bring some good brightness into the fall landscape. And I also have another basket mirroring on this side, which I'm pretty excited about. I do have a couple of hanging baskets I need to get up with some calibrachoas in them, but I just haven't had the chance to mount them yet. There's another one on this side too. So hopefully these will fill out. I'm planting them a little bit late, I'm not gonna lie. It's one of those things that I've had them sitting in my garden. They got a little heat stress, they look a little stressed, but hopefully they will still fill out and give me a little bit of color before the season ends, so I'm pretty excited about that. So actually what I want to do is I want to go ahead and head to the front so I can show you guys that, because we're actually going to go down the other side of the house so I can show you what the container garden is looking like, which I'm pretty excited about. Over here I still have my Poet's Wife David Austin rose, and he's starting to bud up with the second round of blooms here. And as you can see, I had some trouble with some Japanese beetles. I had some pretty bad Japanese beetle problem, but I have been using some rose spray that has really been helping, and I've also been using it down in my vegetable garden, so I'll show you guys that once I get down there. But I'll also cart it up above, and actually I'm just realizing, do I have some black spot on here? Huh. I might have some black spot that I need to deal with. Oh, there's always something. Down here at the bottom, you can see that I had some purple petunias. I did cut these back just recently, but they've kind of taken a beating. The calibrachoas were looking really, really good like about a week ago, and they've started to kind of fade and get leggy. As you can see, there's like a little spot here in the middle where some of the leaves and everything have gotten just a bit leggy. So I probably should have trimmed them back a little bit earlier. And they don't get really good water, so this spot, for whatever reason, I always tend to forget. I'm not exactly sure why, and so that's why they don't look so great here. But that's okay, you live and you learn. Hopefully I'll tear these up and put some nice fall color in here for the fall, for autumn. Okay, so over here I have, of course, my Camilla bush, which is doing totally fine. We'll see when he starts to bloom. I think he starts to bloom in winter, but the blooms never look super good because he's really not supposed to be on an east-facing wall. But he's doing fine, his little evergreen presence here. And then all in the front, of course, all in the front I have these white petunias. They look a little dusty because I just had my husband come and weed eat yesterday for this tour. So they look a little bit like they've been sprayed with some stuff, but they actually look really, really good. I've been super happy with how these have done. These have gotten really good water, so they've really kind of flushed out and become the size exactly that I wanted them to. I know that probably super petunias would have gotten a lot bigger, but for my garden, this has been just the perfect pop of white brightness, which I love. Over here, I do have one of my bleeding hearts, and he is doing awful. I think he's just getting too much sun over here, too much heat, and probably not enough water. So he's doing really, really badly, but the other ones that are over on the other side are doing really well, so I'm not too upset about it. I'll probably go ahead and dig him out and throw him away later this fall and maybe pop something else in there that will kind of give me some good fall color. I have a couple of seeds that I need to sow anyway, so that'll be a perfect little spot for something. Over here I have my coral impatiens, which are looking really, really pretty. They are a little bit, see, there we go, there's a better one that's like new. Look how pretty that looks. What's this? Get off of there. A little perlite there. How pretty is that? So I'm super excited. These have done really, really well considering. They do get a little sun scorch some, but they've still done really well. They haven't been crinkling up or anything like that. So I'm pretty happy with how they've done in this area. As you can see, I cut my lavender back really hard, obviously, to do my lavender video where I made a lavender wreath. So I cut some of these back pretty hard, but they're already flushing back with some new buds, which I'm really excited about. You can see there's a new one right there. So I think that we'll still get a couple of blooms out of this before the season ends. So I'm pretty excited about that. Over here, this is the coneflower I was talking about. Over here, this is my echinacea I was talking about when I was pointing out the coneflowers in the other side. And look at how crazy he looks. He's flopping a little bit, and the reason for that is because he's getting a little too much water. We have really, really bad clay soil here, and so he's not getting enough drainage. So he's flopping a bit, but I'm super happy with it. Either way, it's a huge, big, bright spot that I think just captures your eye when you walk into my garden or even when you drive by. which I just love. I just think that he has done super, super well. And I do think I'm going to start harvesting some of these little spikes for some fall arrangements, which will be really fun. Here in the back, I do have both of my coleuses. So you guys haven't seen this one yet on camera, but this one I actually picked up as well for my best friend's wedding. And I thought that this would be a beautiful foliage accent since she's going for some cranberry, sunflower vibes. So I just thought that that would look really pretty. And then my Main Street coleus down here is bouncing back pretty well, I think. So I think that he's definitely going to give us at least a little bit of attention before the end of the summer. But I went ahead and popped him back here because literally, I'm not kidding you guys, this is like the only shady spot in my garden. There are other places that get shade sometimes, but not full shade. So I went ahead and stuck him back here in the corner. But I think as they get taller, they'll be really, really pretty. And especially in fall, that color is just fall for me. The cranberry colors, the maroon colors, couldn't ask for more. Coming over here, we can see that, of course, I have my irises here in the back. I have some snapdragons here in the front that are putting out a couple of blooms. I wish I had sprayed these down a little bit. They look a little, a little dirty, but that's okay. And they are starting to flush back with some blooms, and as the weather gets colder, I think that they will flush back with even more. I have some mondo grass right here and my Nandina firepower, which has done really well. I transplanted him earlier this spring, and I think it was a good idea because they ended up doing really well here in front of the porch. Okay, next up I have my 2 baskets that I planted up as well. Hopefully you guys will have seen this video by this point, but I planted this up. I will go ahead and card the video if you guys haven't seen it. But I have some zinnias here, some awful, like god-awful looking petunias. They're actually extras of the white petunias that I had, and they had gotten really leggy. So I cut them back hard before I planted them in here. So I'm hoping that they'll flush back out. You can see it already has a bloom on it. So hopefully they'll flush back out and give me a white pop here in the front. Then I have these dahlias here, which got a little bit sun scorched because they came from the greenhouse and I put it right out in the full sun, which was totally my bad. I should not have done that. But they have these beautiful little, how do I say this? It's cranberry, but it's more like a magenta purple. I don't know, maybe cranberry is the right word. So we have some dahlias here in the front, just some little teeny ones. And then what is this, sunrise coral? I think this is a sunrise coral geranium, but I will go ahead and link his name, and I just popped him here in the back. Alright guys, this is my summer or my spring planting that has done super well all through this year. I've been really, really happy. The diamond frost euphorbia has gotten crazy, so I've had to cut it back several times to just keep it manageable. So I probably should have put this in the back rather than in the front because it definitely overtook and shades a lot of the other stuff. But I'm okay. It's not too bad. I love seeing this either way, even if I just had a pot full of the diamond frost. I don't think I could be mad about it. And then the creeping Jenny, I mean, how gorgeous is that? It makes me wish that I had bought so much more for other containers. I just think that it's gorgeous, so I definitely will be repurchasing that next year. Over here I have some of this lobelia, which is starting to flush out with a second or third round of blooms at this point. It looks a little bit crunchy, but that's okay. A lot of that is just because I cut it back about a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and it's flushed back with some new blooms, which I'm really happy about. The geraniums, unfortunately, are not in bloom for you guys, but this one has done super, super well. This is the same type that I have in the planters, and then I have a little impatient here in the back who is also not blooming at this point, but I know that he will flush back with a couple more blooms that they're starting to come out. I saw a couple of them. Yeah, there's one in there. So he's coming back with some more blooms, just not at this point. Okay, so we're moving into the side bed over here. So not much is new on this side, but as you can see, I have the little Nandina firepower. I do have a couple of the lavenders, you might have seen that in the other bed, that I didn't cut back when I did my lavender wreath video, and I just wanted to leave them because I knew the pollinators love them so much and I felt terrible about cutting them down. So I went ahead and left some, and I'm just going to let them dry on the plant, and just because I see bees on them every day, so I feel like I don't know, I feel like I can't cut them. But I do know that they're pumping out some new buds here. You can see them coming up here from the bottom. So these have been really, really strong. I highly recommend Lavender Grosso. I think they've done super, super well, especially for having clay soil and not getting direct sun. They've just produced so well for me, so I'm really, really happy with them. As you can see over here, my bleeding hearts are doing so much better on this side than on the other side, and it's just because this gets a little bit more shade. This one is getting a little scorched, but I think he'll do okay because I do plan on planting some stuff here. And then I have all these petunias here in the front. I have my little snapdragons these are doing really well. And it's probably because they get more shade and it's a little cooler over here. So they're flushing back with all kinds of new buds. How pretty. I'm excited about that. And then I have, of course, my Japanese pieris here in the back. My little azalea bush that I got from one of my friends. They're still going strong, still doing well. You know what's funny though is that I have been dealing with spiders in my garden, and I don't know if this is necessarily a bad thing, but I find cobwebs on all of my stuff all the time. So let me know, is that a problem, and should I be addressing that, or should I just leave them? That's probably mean of me, messing up his home. Anyway, and then as we move over here, you can see that my Incredible hydrangea, oh, Japanese beetle, get off. So insulting. Okay, so as you can see, my Incredible is doing great. He's pumping out some new blooms. Some of them are starting to age. I'm not sure whether I want to leave these. As you can see, this one's probably past its prime to be cut, but this one looks so good. Look at how pretty that is. It's starting to age to that lime green color. It's very papery. This would be the perfect time to harvest it if I was going to use it in a fall arrangement. And I have been battling about whether to harvest it or not for days. I want to harvest them, but I also don't want to take them off. Ugh, I don't know what to do. So I might come back and I might cut some of these off because I would love to use these inside for my fall stuff and my autumn arrangements. So I don't know, I haven't decided about that. So let me know what you guys tend to do. Oh, yay! I'm so excited. Okay, I just planted up this little corner garden yesterday, and you guys, if you haven't seen that video, I'll go ahead and card it here. But I have some beautiful daylilies. Oh my goodness, what are these called? I think these are called South Sea daylilies. And here, you can come over here to this side so that they can really see it. Look at how gorgeous these are. They've done so well. I've had them in, oh my goodness, I've had them in their containers for way too long, and they've really hung in there for me. I've just been so proud of them. They've continued to pump out blooms, even despite still being in their nursery pots, which I've just been super happy about. So I'm really excited. I think these are gonna look so great next year. But they've been putting out like a lot of new blooms for me. And then over here is something actually just from yesterday. I got this little white gardenia on sale for $3. How crazy is that? So he's just a white gardenia. I'll go ahead and include his name here at the top. But I just got him on clearance at Lowe, so I popped him here in the back because he gets about 2 to 3 feet wide and about 3 to 4 feet tall. So I thought that would be the perfect little accent here. Okay, and over here is my little container garden. I was super worried about this garden because I ended up getting some potting mix that I wasn't crazy about, but obviously you can see that that did not hold it back at all. I ended up top dressing it with some peat moss, and I think that that really helped because as I water it, the peat starts going into the containers and it helps them to develop their root systems. Because if you didn't see that container planting video, I used this potting mix, but it seemed more like mulch to me than potting mix, so that's why I included some of that. So I think that that really helped them out, but honestly a lot of them were coming up anyways despite all of that. So over here I did just water them, so they might be out of order a little bit from last time, but this is my Peter Pan squash right here. I need to go through and thin these out again because I only end up wanting at least 1 or 2 plants, but that's it. I don't want any more than that so that they can fill out and really have the space that they need. Probably just 1. So I'm probably gonna use this one since it's the biggest, nicest looking one, and I'll cut these 2 out. Over here, let's see, what's this guy? This is just my regular dark green zucchini. So as you can see, this is the biggest one, so I'll probably keep him and cut the rest of these out. I don't know, I might take the center one too, just so it grows up nice and centered in the pot. But we'll thin these out as we go. But this is my dark green zucchini. I have some black beans that I sprouted from my kitchen actually that are planted in here. So these are doing great. Yeah, I don't have anything more to say about that. I think that they've done really, really awesome. So we'll see if they produce before the end of the year. Some of my favorite ones, which one is this? This is my jack-o'-lantern pumpkin. Now I know, okay, it's late. It's late in the year to be planting or having little seedlings, but I'm just really hoping that maybe with our long extended summers, hopefully we won't get a frost too soon, and these will at least put out some smaller pumpkins for me, but we'll see how it goes. I need to come and thin these out as well. And then over here, these are my mini harvest pumpkins. Yes, mini harvest blend pumpkins. I'm super ratchet with my with my plastic knife labels, but I still can't find my labels. I don't know what the heck I did with them. So I'll have to get some new ones, I guess. But I have all of these, and these really need to be thinned out. So I just have one or two. So I'll go ahead and I'll get rid of all these and probably just keep the center one. So I'm pretty happy with how that has done. So I will continue to keep you guys updated, but I consider this a success. Definitely. All right, let's go ahead and head to the vegetable garden. You guys, I was so upset because the air conditioning unit just came on and my husband was like, don't worry, I'll go in and turn it off. The dog started barking and our daughter is still sleeping. And he was like, it's all right, I'll take her out. And I'm telling you guys, get a man that is gonna help you and get up early on a Sunday morning to do a garden tour, even though he literally stays up super late and he's a night owl. I just love him so much. Alright guys, so we are here at the beginning of the vegetable garden, so I've had a couple gardening mistakes this year, but that's okay. It's a learning process, and honestly I just didn't know what I was doing when I was first starting out. So I did put in these little, what do you call this? Like a tomato cage. I put in these tomato cages here at the beginning, and they do not recommend. They definitely have not stood up well to just how much fruit, as you can see, is being produced. So this guy ended up flopping over. I had to reinforce him with some canes. So I definitely will do that different next year. I will either just use little canes that I can kind of specifically plant in each side, or I'll make something better. Maybe do like a DIY project. I've seen several people make wooden tomato cages that are square, and I think that that would actually hold up a lot better. But thankfully I planted everything so jam-packed close that they actually have become kind of a system, and I think that that's why everything's standing up pretty well right now, is just because a lot of it is distributed on these other cages that I have for my peppers, which are also putting out a lot of pretty good growth here, which I'm pretty excited about. I haven't harvested a ton from here because we have been super crazy hot here, so my tomatoes are not ripening like they should. When it's over, I think it's like 85 degrees or something like that, they tend not to ripen as quickly and their process slows a little bit. And I also have not been good about keeping all of these like suckers pruned. I ended up just coming yesterday and I pruned a ton, but I didn't end up finishing. So that's why they look so bushy. Yeah, like that one should come off. But determinate tomatoes in general shouldn't be pruned a ton. So these should have had a little bit more space and a little bit stronger of a reinforcement. Because when you prune determinate tomatoes, you are taking off potential blooms for more produce, because they are only going to produce a certain amount of tomatoes throughout the year. That's why they're called determinate, because they only have a certain size that they're going to get to, but apparently that size for me was huge. So yeah, either way, I'm pretty excited. I did see a couple in the back, which we probably won't be able to see, are starting to ripen up a little bit because we're getting some cooler nights. So I'm super excited about that. So I can't wait to be able to bring my first harvest in, and hopefully they will taste pretty good. And then I have my strawberry patch over here, which is doing well. I have noticed that the strawberries that it has been producing are a little bit watery and a little stringy, and I think that that's mainly just because it's its first year and they're not fully, like their root systems are not fully established. So I've kind of just been letting them go. I've been picking off the ripe stuff, but I have put this little chicken wire over top to protect the strawberries from the birds because they were really getting to them bad. So I've been picking them off and they've been doing pretty well. But like I said, I think that next year is really when I'm going to see the full benefit of these. So let's go ahead and head over and I'll show you my cucumber. Okay guys, so here's my cucumber. He's doing really well actually. He's put out, we have like 20 cucumbers sitting in my kitchen right now. We cannot eat the cucumbers fast enough as they come in. So I'm pretty happy with that. I have been dealing with a really bad white mold problem. You can actually see there's a little spot here. So I've been treating him with kind of a DIY recipe, a mix of neem oil and some vinegar and a little teeny bit of dish soap diluted in water, and I've been spraying him down, but I haven't been on top of it as much as I should, which is why some of these leaves are looking a bit ratchet, and I need to come out and thin the leaves as well so that some of those more mature leaves can go ahead and make room for the newer and not as disease affected leaves. I also have some of this beautiful purple basil here, which is just gorgeous. I love when it flowers. I know that it affects the taste, but I have some sweet basil in the other bed that I normally use, so I'm not too worried about it. But I just think as far as the look, like you cannot ask for more. Practicality and beauty. I planted these kind of underneath, which I didn't really mean to. It just kind of happened that way. Oh my gosh, he's strangling out my basil. But I will definitely put him more front and center next year because I just think he looks so pretty. Over here, my my squash is doing pretty well. I can't say it's yellow squash because this is the squash that my neighbor gave me. And I guess maybe it's a bush variety. It's not vining very much as I thought that it was going to, which is why I did this little trellis here. Oh my gosh, look at this. This is hysterical. These lilac branches, because they've been stuck in the ground, are like still putting out new leaves. That is so funny. Can you propagate lilac that way? Wow, okay, that's interesting. So anywho, we'll see if these continue to stay in kind of like a bush form, and I might go ahead and just rip this out because there's just no need for it. It doesn't look like they're gonna need support. But as you can see, I've got my first bloom on here, which is so much fun. So I can't wait to have some squash later on this year. Look, my daughter put a little tomato in here. She must have plucked it off and then put it in here. I don't know why. Okay, so here at the bottom, I also have this blue, I think it's called Evolus or Evolvis, but I'll go ahead and tag that here. And it has really done well. These are really, really pretty blooms. They're this beautiful periwinkle, and they tend to open up mainly when they're in sun, and then in the evening they close up, which is so cute, I think. I don't know, there's just something about plants that have like a natural cycle that just, it makes me, I don't know. Of course, there's more spider webs on there. Crazy. And then I also have this beautiful chiffon Rose of Sharon that I have been spraying down as well with that rose stuff. Oh, let me go ahead and grab that real quick. This is the rose and flower insect killer that I've been using to help manage the Japanese beetle problem because they like these as well as roses apparently. Oh, sorry. And so yeah, I definitely recommend this. This has been really helping. I spray it in the evenings. I try to spray it in the evenings so that, you know, hopefully nothing gets on any good insects. But I mainly just spray it on the buds because I've noticed that's what the little devils get in there and they eat up my beautiful blooms. But here's a really, really pretty one. Here, let me spin it around. Look at how pretty that is though. And can you imagine just coming out here and seeing a stupid Japanese beetle eating it up? Yeah, so that's why I've been spraying them down. So I'm really happy with how the pink looks with the periwinkle. I think that has really done super well. I couldn't be happier. I still need to plant him up. Yeah, it's just, just part of life, I guess. Okay, so sorry for the harsh light, guys. We really should have gotten out here a little bit earlier, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys this little side bed that I have planted up. I think that it's done pretty well, and I'm excited to see what it's gonna look like going into the season. So we have, of course, my zinnias, which are starting to really take off. You can see they're budded up really well. There's quite a few buds coming out, which I'm really happy with. The salvia has just been a performer, man. It's just been doing really, really well. The Dazzleberry sedum, I think is what this is called, has been doing pretty well as well. Some of these need to be cut off, but as you can see, I think that that's going to be a really pretty point for autumn. My verbena here is starting to go out of its prime. It just flushed out with some blooms a week or so ago, and so they're starting to go away again. But that has been really, really well too, like a little creeper, a little pop of red. I'm not a big fan of red, but I don't know, it's been fun. It's been fun to have it in the garden. I have the pathetic looking sunflower over here that one of my good friends got for me as a gift, and it has survived. I mean, it hasn't done anything special, but it is pumping out new blooms, so we'll see how it goes. It's still got a little bit of time, you know, because sunflowers do bloom into autumn, so we'll see what happens. Over here, my Coreopsis, I think that's, somebody corrected me on it last time that I was talking about it, so now I feel nervous to say it. But Coreopsis, I believe is how you say this. The Coreopsis is looking really, really pretty. I'm very happy with it. I'm definitely going to add some more varieties of this into my garden. I have some white coneflower here, a little bit of Rudbeckia here at the front. There's one, and then there's another one up there. Some salvia mixed in, and then I did add in these sunflowers right around my red twig dogwood that I have potted up. I added these here in the front, which I thought would be really, really pretty going into fall, and I got these all on clearance as well. So they're cut down a little bit, but I mean, look at how many buds are on them. They just needed some love, needed some time to get in the dirt, so I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, and then we have some salvia here, my little sky pencil holly, and then I also have some stuff here in the front. I'm trying to remember what this is called. It's something with like dragon or like, oh, beard's tongue, that's what it is. I have some beard's tongue here at the front, which has pushed out a second round of blooms, and is just looking beautiful. So, and this is actually a perennial. I thought it was an annual when I picked it up, but it's a perennial, so it'll come back next year. So I'm pretty happy with that. Really, really pretty. Okay, you guys, so I hope you enjoyed this July garden tour. I have added a couple of new things, so I hope you enjoyed kind of seeing what I've done in the past couple weeks. And yeah, it's been really fun, and I'm really excited. I'm ready. I mean, it's like end of July, and I'm already ready to start getting into the fall stuff. I mean, I can't even tell you. Fall is one of my favorite seasons, so I've been watching a lot of videos about that. So I'm really excited to get started, kind of incorporating some fall stuff in August. So we'll see how that goes. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please like and subscribe. It really helps my channel out and to hopefully expand our garden community and get more garden friends. So otherwise, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye! She's just gonna keep recording me. I do want to try to get I like to glare at the cars as they go by. Makes me feel better.